In the headlines for this hour on VTV News, Vietnam and Australia promote education cooperation. And Vietnam respond to Ring the Bell for Gender Equality campaign. In our war news, UN calls on Huthis to cease all attacks against international shipping.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. On Friday, Prime Minister Phie gave an important speech at the Vietnam-Australia Education Cooperation Forum at the Australian National University, where 6 alumni and lecturers who won Nobel Prizes are based. More in the following story.
Addressing the event, Prime Minister Phie reviewed major developments in Vietnam-Australia relations over the past half a century, saying that bilateral ties have flourished positively, resulting in the recent upgrading of ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership. According to the Prime Minister, Vietnam always attaches special importance to education training and human resource development, especially high-quality human resources. He also shared some of Vietnam's experience in education development.
To orient education and training, we must harmoniously combine internal and external resources and closely monitor developments in the world. Previously, Vietnam focused on training in traditional fields, but now we will shift to new ones such as the digital economy, green economy, circular economy, and AI. To do this, monitoring and understanding global development trends closely is necessary. We must have a timely and effective policy response to meet educational needs. I feel building a new mechanism to adapt to the new situation is vital.
Prime Minister Phie also stressed that education cooperation is always a bright spot in bilateral relations and has recorded many important achievements, thereby contributing to creating and improving the quality of human resources for national development. He said Vietnam prioritizes attracting foreign investment in education and training. However, investment in this field remains modest, especially at the university level. He, therefore, suggested that both sides strive to increase education and training cooperation practically, effectively, and comprehensively to further promote its role as an important pillar. The Prime Minister went on to propose increasing and improving the overall quality of cooperation programs between educational, training institutions, and universities of the two countries.
Also, during his visit to Australia, Prime Minister Phie visited the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organizations and met leaders of major Australian and world corporations to promote cooperation.
During talks with CSIRO leaders, the Prime Minister gave his impression of the sound cooperation between Vietnam and CSIRO. He suggested that CSIRO and its Vietnamese partners try to remove roadblocks in their cooperation. Meanwhile, Australian Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs Tim Watt said that science and innovation cooperation programs are pillars of bilateral relations, and the Australian government is committed to enhancing the science and innovation cooperation with Vietnam through specific projects. The Prime Minister also met with the leaders of South Korea's SK Group to hear proposals for implementing a new technology project to produce green hydrogen and store CO2 in Vietnam. He asked the group to work with the Vietnamese Ministry of Planning and Investment and relevant agencies to ensure project preparations complied with regulations.
Receiving the head of Koryo Generation's Asia-Pacific region, a world-leading company in offshore wind power development, the Prime Minister heard the company's proposals and recommendations on pilot projects in Vietnam. He asked the firm to coordinate with relevant Vietnamese ministries and agencies to examine and deploy specific projects to bring practical benefits to both sides. Receiving the leadership of two major Australian mineral producers, ASM and EQ, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh welcomed their plans and desire to invest in Vietnam. He requested that they apply advanced technology to enhance product value, protect the environment, and ensure harmony of interests between the state, the public, and businesses. At a meeting with the CEO of Sunrice, Australia's largest rice producer and distributor, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh expressed his appreciation of Sunrice's effective operations globally and in Vietnam. He proposed that the group help develop rice supply chains in Vietnam, enhance technology transfer, and bring Vietnamese products deeper into the global supply chain.
Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh and his spouse met with officials of Vietnam representative agencies in the Vietnamese community in Australia in Canberra on March 7th during the official visit to Australia. At the meeting, he said that he had proposed Australia the recognition of Vietnamese community as an ethnic minority during recent discussions with Australian leaders. The Vietnamese community in Australia comprises approximately 350,000 individuals and ranks fifth among foreign ethnic communities in the country. Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh expressed gratitude for the Vietnamese community contributions to national development and emphasized the importance of fostering innovations within the community. He urged them to continue maintaining unity, compliance with Australian laws, and active integration into the local society to further contribute to Australia's development. During a reception in Hanoi on March 8th for Chinese ambassador to Vietnam, Xiongbo, National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ highly appreciated the recent progress in relations between two parties and two countries. The National Assembly Chair congratulated the achievements of the party, state and people of China achieved in 2023, the first year of implementing the resolutions of the 20th Congress of the Communist Party of China, and at the same time congratulated the opening of the second session of the 14th National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. Both sides are pleased to see that the recent times 6 focus directions for Vietnam-China cooperation have been implemented and initially achieved very positive results. The Party Central Committee's Inspection Commission, chaired by Politburo member Secretary of the Party Central Committee Trần Cẩm Tú, convened its 37th meeting in Hanoi on March 8th. The Commission concluded that the Ministry of Labor, Invalids and Social Affairs Party Civil Affairs Committee violated the principles of democratic centralism and working regulations and show a lack of responsibility, resulting in the ministry and a number of organizations and individuals seriously violating party regulations and the state laws on consulting and performing mechanisms and policies on vocational training. The Commission also pointed out violations and shortcomings of the Kon Tum Provincial People's Court Party's Civil Affairs Committee for the 2015-2020 and 2020-2025 tenures and the officials concerned. Proposals tabled by the party organizations of Phú Yên, Gia Lai, and Hà Giang provinces were also considering disciplinary actions against violating party members. In the southeastern regions, many businesses are rushing to recruit workers. Job openings for labor-intensive industries, including textiles, footwear, and electronics, have increased significantly. They show that productions and business activities are stabilizing. More in the following story.
Instead of tasking staff with distributing recruitment leaflets, this business chose to participate in an online recruitment site. They had 500 vacancies to fill, and finding quality candidates didn't take long.
Online recruitment sites give us opportunities to find qualified candidates.
After the Tate holidays, approximately 97% of workers returned to work. With many new orders signed, this business faces another headache, recruiting more experienced workers to meet the demand. The company also offers many benefits and policies to keep their workers on board.
The company has devised a brand new retirement fund. Each worker sets aside a small part of their monthly salary, and after 10 years, they will get a refund.
This is the most obvious change in the labor and employment market in the first quarter of this year, as many workers in highly labor-intensive industries no longer want to change jobs. The priority criteria of job seekers are welfare policy and a stable environment.
We have policies to ensure employees' salaries and income so they can feel secure and will work for us for a long time.
In addition, businesses also encourage their employees to introduce and connect them with new candidates. Successful referrers are rewarded. Businesses save time and recruitment costs, and job seekers also have peace of mind in their new jobs.
In Directive number 18 issued on Thursday, the Prime Minister required the banking sector to publicly disclose the average lending interest rates of credit institutions. This is expected to ensure customers and businesses can easily access credit and choose banks to borrow capital. More to follow.
This man is considering borrowing to buy a house worth over $120,000. He can easily compare bank lending interest rates to choose the right bank.
Since banks have come up with competitive lending interest rates, being able to choose between banks saves me over $8,000.
As for small and medium-sized businesses that want to expand production and business, they also have more options.
It's easier now to choose a bank with a loan package that suits our needs for business expansion.
The 1.2% difference between banks' lending interest rates helps us save significant costs.
Several banks have published average lending interest rates on their websites, distinguishing between customer groups.
We have published our lending interest rates. The rates vary between individuals and businesses.
Banks focusing on lending to corporate customers will have lower average interest rates.
Businesses with good credit histories can enjoy very low interest rates, but individual customers generally pay higher rates.
However, up to now, most banks have not made their average lending interest rates public.
Banks with high interest rates are afraid to publish their rates. Slightly higher interest rates are nothing to be worried about. To be fair and objective, all banks must strive to keep their rates stable and relatively low.
Credit institutions are expected to have a website to announce average interest rates linked to the state bank's website. Banks can also proactively announce more details at transaction counters.
Coming up next on VTV News, Vietnam responds to Ring the Bell for Gender Equality campaign. And Ninh Binh, friendliest destinations in Vietnam. On International Women's Day, the Ring the Bell for Gender Equality event was held in Hanoi and 123 stock exchanges worldwide. This event highlighted the crucial role of private sector in advancing gender equality and bolstering women's economic empowerment and aiming for sustainable business practices and social development. Implementing the gender equality law and the mandate for at least 35% female representation among National Assembly candidates have approved the policies and legal framework fostering investment in women's capacity building. These efforts are bearing fruit as evidenced by Vietnam ascended by 11 positions in the latest Global Gender Equality Ranking Index. In the past, Mong ethnic women on the Đông Văn Plateau in Hà Giang province were often associated with child marriage, illiteracy, and poverty. However, Mong women are now empowering themselves and taking control of their life. The following report shared the inspiring story of a Mong woman from Tung Lung Tam commune in the Quản Bạ district of Hà Giang, who transformed linen weaving into a profitable profession, not just for herself, but also for other Hmong women, bringing about significant changes in their lives.
Under the guidance of Vang Thị Mai, the women and girls of Lung Tam commune have established a large-scale cooperative. This initiative aims to standardize product designs and expand the market for traditional items that were previously only used domestically.
We encountered many hardships at first. The husbands of the weavers who work at the cooperative would say, "I married my wife to serve my family, cook meals, and do other house chores. They shouldn't do these things." These men also dared to beat their wives. But I'm not scared at all.
24 years ago, Mai faced several challenges in assembling artisans skilled in linen weaving to form the Lung Tam Linen Cooperative. To expand the cooperative to its current size of 130 members, Mai dedicated time to visit and persuade numerous families. Women in the community are now able to earn their own income through a job that most Hmong ethnic women excel at.
I find that many Hmong women are facing difficulties. They are smart, but they're still mired in poverty. I want to do something to help them improve their lives.
The cooperative caters to market needs by specializing in traditional linen products, while also offering modern items such as dresses, shirts, and bags. These products created by the Hmong women have captivated domestic customers and penetrated international markets.
When the cooperative was about to pay the workers' wages, I invited the workers' husbands to come and see their wives receive earnings. Then I said, "Now you can bring the money home to fix your chicken coop or pig house." They laughed and said, "Oh, really?"
In recent years, Mai and her team at the Linen Cooperative have developed a model where products are produced and sold on site. This model also serves as a free attraction, promoting the traditional craft of linen weaving to both tourists and locals.
Women can now escape from poverty. Women have jobs and are no longer oppressed. Women need to support each other.
On March 8th, the Ministry of Information and Communications conducted an auction for the B1 band as part of the 5G deployment. 5G usage is divided into 3 radio wave frequencies bands, low, mid, and high. Each band has unique capabilities, offering different coverage and speeds. As per Vietnam's recently announced infrastructure plan, by 2025, 5G speed will reach 100 megabits. By 2030, the 5G network will cover 99% of the population. Vietnamese carriers have also been conducting 5G trials in recent years. 5G deployment is a global trend. Predictions suggest that by 2030, 56% of mobile connections will be via 5G. Ramadan, the month of fasting for Muslims, holds great significance for Cham ethnic peoples in various localities in Vietnam. Although it does not always take place in January, this event serves as an occasion for traditional Ramadan festival celebrations, family reunions, and expressions of respect for their ancestors. When visiting the villages of the Cham Bani or Cham's Owl people during this period, one can sense the joy in the air, indicating the arrivals of this special event.
The Ramadan festival of the Cham Awal people lasts for 1 month. Prior to the ceremony, the festival is typically organized over the first 3 days. It consists of 3 parts: visiting ancestors' graves, ancestor worship, and holding rituals at mosques.
The Ramadan month reminds people of their responsibilities to fulfill filial piety towards their ancestors. During the Ramadan festival, the Cham people always prioritize visiting their ancestors' graves.
In today's Cham villages, essential infrastructure is available, including rural roads, irrigation systems, schools, medical stations, clean water pumps, electricity grids, and cultural houses. Authorities at all levels have invested thoughtfully in these public works, effectively meeting the locals' needs for economic development and quality of life improvement.
The Cham people are excited and ready to celebrate the Ramadan festival. The state also provides supportive policies to assist us. Therefore, we can sell agricultural and aquatic products at favorable prices.
Ramadan is the most significant festival for the Cham community, which follows the Muslim religion. During this time, the Cham people practice fasting, recite prayers, conduct ancestral worship, and participate in rice offering ceremonies. They also honor their goddess. These activities maintain the unique Ramadan traditions of the Cham community and further enrich their long-standing cultural heritage.
Ninh Binh province has been ranked among Vietnam's 3 friendliest destinations in the 12th Annual Traveler Review Awards of renowned travel website Booking.com. Building sustainable tourism services linked to people, culture, history, and nature has helped the province win positive reviews from domestic and international tourists.
In the first 2 months of this year, the ancient capital of Hoa Lu welcomed more than 3,000 tourists a day. The management board's friendliness and enthusiasm clearly leave a positive impression on visitors.
Stay there or leave there or where you want to go, they help you very, very much.
Our greatest concern is the feelings of tourists, so we always strive to improve the quality of our services. Friendliness, politeness, an enthusiastic attitude, and thoughtfulness are our musts when offering services.
In this tourist destination, a boatman also works as a tour guide and a companion to help visitors maximize their experience on each tour.
I'm happy and comfortable. The boatmen were very enthusiastic. When I asked them many things during the tour, they patiently explained them all.
We also invited many experts in culture and history to train tourism staff. The province wants to offer the best experience to tourists.
Last year, the Traveler Review Awards ranked Ninh Binh as the only Vietnamese representative among the top 10 friendliest destinations in the world. This year, it was named among Vietnam's top 3 friendliest destinations. Considering visitors' feelings as a measure of success has helped the province experience outstanding growth. In 2023, the province welcomed more than 6.5 million visitors, an increase of 77% over the same period in 2022.
Coming up next in our war news, UN calls on Houthis to cease all attacks against international shipping. And South Korean Air Forces stages live fire drills. The United Nations and many countries has condemned the attack on the True Confidence cargo ship in the Red Sea, killing 3 crew members. This was the first fatal Houthi attack in the Red Sea. A spokesperson for the United Nations Secretary General Stephanie Dujarric emphasized that the Houthi attacks on international ships in the Red Sea, with the latest attack on the True Confidence ship, are risking the life of seafarers on commercial cargo ships, property damage, as well as affecting the regional and global economy. The United Nations calls on Houthi forces to end all attacks on international shipping in the Red Sea. U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller announced that the U.S. will continue to monitor the activities of Houthi forces in the Red Sea that affect the safety of innocent civilians. The British Embassy in Yemen also called on the Houthis to end attacks on international commercial ships traveling in the Red Sea. South Korean fighter jets staged a live fire exercise on Thursday to bolster readiness against North Korean cruise missiles and artillery threats. The training took place over waters off the west coast, involving more than 10 fighter jets, in connection with the annual South Korea-U.S. Freedom Shield exercise that began earlier this week. During the air drills, fighter jets fire air-to-air missiles to shoot down 2 targets, simulating enemy cruise missiles detected by air defense radar systems. The country's Air Force also mobilized Fa-50 and F-5 aircraft to drop guided bombs to destroy simulated enemy long-range artillery. The exercise took place as North Korea has ratcheted up tensions with a series of military demonstrations, including artillery firing near the Western Seas border and a series of launches of what it claimed to be new missiles. The European Central Bank cut some of its growth and inflation projections on Friday, putting price growth back at its 2% target next year. As weak growth and weakened energy prices limit price pressure, the ECB has kept interest rate at a record high since September, but policymakers are now openly discussing rate cuts, suggesting that the only real debate is whether to start policy easing sooner or wait for more evidence that inflation has indeed been tamed. Eurozone GDP growth this year will increase by 0.6%, lower than the 0.8% rate announced by the ECB last December. The bank also decided to keep interest rate unchanged at a record high of 4%, and at the same time stated that inflation is falling more sharply than predicted a few months ago. In its quarterly economic forecast, the ECB reduced its inflation forecast for this year from 2.7% to 2.3%. This means the ECB can achieve its 2% inflation target this year instead of 2025 as previously expected. The Energy Observer is the first hydrogen-powered ship to circumnavigate the globe, completing a 6-year, 50-country, 101-stop expeditions with zero greenhouse gas emissions and no fine particles emissions. Its HOUTHIS for the future aims to educate rail awareness and detect innovative solutions for ecological transition. The ship is entering the final leg of its trip around the world and has just docked in Florida, United States.
Launched in 2017, the Energy Observer is more than 30 meters long and can reach a maximum speed of up to 14 knots per hour. When it docked in Florida, the vessel had traveled more than 63,000 nautical miles without using fossil fuels. 40% of the ship's energy comes from wind power, 40% from solar energy, and 20% from hydrogen.
This boat is very, very special, the only one like this in the world, because we are able to make hydrogen on board, and after we use hydrogen to charge our batteries and to power and to sail only with the sun, with hydrogen and with the wind.
The Energy Observer can accommodate 10 people, including sailors, engineers, environmental experts, and journalists. Their mission on the trip is to test renewable energy sources and collect data for the shipping industry's future strategies. The journey also contributes to raising people's awareness of environmental protection issues.
The main reactions that we get is wow, because it is quite a special boat. It doesn't look like any other boat that most people have seen in their lives. It's quite, awe-striking.
Energy Observer has received the patronage of the French president. The mission is also supported by the European Commission, UNESCO, and the International Renewable Energy Agency, as well as numerous public and private players.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's it for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download our mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.